So long as the great majority of men are not deprived of either property or honor, they are satisfied. Wars begin when you will, but they do not end when you please. Men should be either treated generously or destroyed because they take revenge for slight injuries. For heavy ones they cannot. Success or failure lies in conforming to the times. Let no one oppose this belief of mine with that well-worn proverb, "He who builds on the people, builds on mud." Princes ought to leave affairs of reproach to the management of others, and keep those of grace in their own hands. And if, to be sure, sometimes you need to conceal a fact with words, do it in such a way that it does not become known, or, if it does become known, that you have a ready and quick defense. It is necessary for him who lays out a state and arranges laws for it to presuppose that all men are evil, and that they are always going to act according to the wickedness of their spirits whenever they have free scope. Is it better to be loved than feared, or the reverse? The answer is that it is desirable to be both, but because it is difficult to join them together, it is much safer for a prince to be feared than loved if he is to fail in one of the two. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. In seizing a state, the usurper ought to examine closely into all those injuries which it is necessary for him to inflict, and to do them all at one stroke, so as not to have to repeat them daily. And thus, by not unsettling men, he will be able to reassure them, and win them to himself by benefits. He who does otherwise, either from timidity or evil advice, is always compelled to keep the knife in his hand. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. Experience shows that those who do not keep their word get the better of those who do. One can say this in general of men: they are ungrateful, disloyal, insincere and deceitful, timid of danger, and avid of profit. Love is a bond of obligation which these miserable creatures break whenever it suits them to do so. But fear holds them fast by a dread of punishment that never passes. I hold that it could be true that fortune is the arbiter of half of actions, but that she still leaves the other half, or close to it, to be governed by us. Making an example of one or two offenders is kinder than being too compassionate, and allowing disorders to develop into murder and chaos which affects the whole community. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. There is no other way to guard yourself against flatteries than by making men understand that by telling you the truth, they will not offend you. But when everyone can tell you the truth, you will fail to get respect. Never was anything great achieved without danger. How we live is so different from how we ought to live, that he who studies what ought to be done rather than what is done will learn the way to his downfall rather than to his preservation. Benefits should be conferred gradually, and in that way they will taste better. Before all else, beyond